episode of Living Single with Dan and Danny. As always, I'm Danny, and in front of me is Dan. How you living, man?
Turkey. Oh, well. Well, thank you for asking.
You're welcome, man. Wow. You're joined today by a distinguished young man. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Marcell Gill. I'm a good friend of Danny's since elementary school? Middle school?
They know yes, Dan. They gonna think you his friend. You look at me, I'm confused.
Well, I'm friends with Dan.
There you go. I'm cool in these streets now. I got a nickname, abbreviation. So Drumline came out. I'm gonna tell you a little story. Drumline came out, so I was like, yo, I could be nice with the sticks too. So I picked me up a drum, a little snare. See this cat, all in the band class, twirling his sticks.
First year in the class.
Thinking he was nice.
Right.
I don't have any. Smoked on me, you feel me? But he stuck with it and I didn't. So now he's a very talented drummer.
So he's better than you.
He didn't quit.
I wouldn't say I'm better than you. We just play different.
I appreciate that.
That's a nice way to put it. That's a nice way to put it. So, Marcell, tell the people something about yourself.
All right, I'm Marcell Gill. I'm 27, I'm a U.S. Army vet, single father of a 3-year-old boy named Carter.
Shout out to Carter.
Shout out to Carter, KJ.
Hopefully he's not listening.
He need to. No, but I'm just up here, promoting my book and exchanging ideas with some brothers.
Book, man. Tell us about this book. What's it called?
So my book is called Get Rid of Yourself. It got 7 chapters in it, and it talks about like the daily struggles that we go through as men or as humans, period, that we all go through every single day, and how you can overcome them. You can change your perception on life and think about situations differently instead of negatively all the time.
What's been your biggest struggle? How'd you overcome it?
I would have to say my biggest struggle was video games.
Oh.
I used to play Call of Duty like 18 hours out of 24 hours out of the day.
Were you ranked?
I was ranked.
Okay.
I competed, I played for money, so I wasn't just wasting time. And then I hit
you got a homeboy that play FIFA, he be wasting time. I'm playing. Yeah, he was ranked.
Nah, but I was ranked too. I was making money or whatever, but I had a son and I was homeschooling him too, so I kind of felt like it was getting in the way of our bond or whatever. So I ended up getting rid of my game system about 2 weeks before my ex-wife screwed me over, and I lost my son for 35 days. Fast forward to today.
For another 35 days.
Yeah. Could have, and that would have probably fucked me up more. I can cuss on here, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Feel free.
So, I lost my son for 35 days because she pushed some false charges on me. And fast forward to the day I got, primary custody and all that. So shout out to all the fathers out there that actually have custody of their kids, because not too many fight for them. But
that's a hard case to win too. A
How'd you go
single
about it?
father, take away from the mother.
I hired one of the best lawyers in fucking Fayetteville.
Did that? I can imagine it cost you an arm and a leg. No, or
$3,500.
okay.
But I had help too. I'm not gonna act like I did it all on my own.
Okay. I know a lot of women with kids, and the narrative, some of the men don't do their part, but again, they are doing what they can to support their kids, so they necessarily don't have the funds to get a lawyer. So now they stuck like, all right, I'm not getting enough from the dad, and I don't have enough to get a lawyer, so they're like in that.
But a lot of fathers don't think either. When they're going through that stuff, like I was taking pictures, I had evidence, I had receipts, and the crazy thing is, like, I was kind of mad because, like, my ex-wife, she didn't have to go in court with evidence. And it's like, we're both the parents. Like, I have to go in there and prove, like, I'm doing shit.
She don't have to prove.
Right. And I had receipts from over a year, but anyway, I ended up getting partial custody, which is shared custody, and she had him an extra day, so I ended up having to pay child support when I was already taking care of him, and that was like about $450 a month. So I was getting knocked over the head.
So let's take a step back.
Yeah.
27. You've been married and divorced.
Married and divorced.
How did you get? Was this your high school sweetheart?
So
was it a military thing?
So actually, I met my ex-wife at church. I knew her mom. I was real cool with her. We used to smoke together and stuff like that. Real funny, like church, right? So I met her at church one summer, and she looked good. I was like, okay, cool. And she stood outside the bathroom waiting for me because she was staring at me because I used to play drums at this church.
Of course.
Yeah, you know, so she saw your boy and waited. And we ended up talking after that. But she lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So, like, the first year of our relationship was long distance. And I'm in college, like, when I could be smashing any and everybody on campus.
What, you stayed faithful?
Yeah, I stayed faithful. Yeah, it was
Do you
hard.
think she did?
But then she did, yeah.
Okay.
So
Can I stop you from one second? I got a quick question. Do you ever? I feel like there's sometimes those moments where like, dang, had I known it was gonna turn out like this, I would have stayed faithful.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, I was at Fayetteville State, so I mean, there wasn't really shit out there, no way, and especially nobody that looked better than my girl at the time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't nothing like that. But I don't really think about it like as in a bad way. Like, cause I'm sure she had her reasons or whatever. Those I may not ever know. Cause she still to this day deny that she ever cheated. But her sister's the one that told me. So yeah, it's crazy.
Like,
Your
what man
sister wanted you.
And yeah, but
Ah,
but her sister.
So she cheated because you messing with the sister.
No,
the sister told him that she cheated.
And her sister told me like 2 days after we got married too. And that's the craziest shit about it. She was like, you believe that when you married you should know everything about your partner? I'm like, well yeah. And she's like, you think there's anything you should take to the grave? And I was like, what you trying to say? Like, just go ahead and tell me. She was like, well, she cheated on you when you left. Because I was in the military. So as soon as I found out a lot of shit like 8 months down the road, like as soon as I left for the military, which I was doing to start a family and all that, you know, I left and she started going to school at FTCC and she gave some dude her number immediately.
Sorry, when did she move from Wisconsin to?
Oh, so she moved from Wisconsin in 2012.
Okay.
So she moved down here and I went into the military the following summer in 2013.
Okay.
So she was mad that I was leaving because she moved down here to be with me. And I'm like, I'm trying to, you know, get a stable and whatnot. So I left, and she started talking to some dude at FTCC.
Did she tell you what she would have preferred you to do?
Yeah, she wanted me to stay there and us build together. But I'm like, I'm in Fayetteville. Like, at this time, I was selling weed and all that other stuff. And I'll talk about it. Like, I used to do a whole bunch of crazy shit. And that's another reason why I went into the military.
It's not that many opportunities in Fayetteville, especially when you're young.
So I had to leave, and that's one of the reasons why I left, because I was like, a couple of our friends got fucked up, like dead. Yeah. So I was like, that ain't gonna be me. Yeah. So I left, and I was like, I'm trying to build a family, whatever, blah blah blah. So she ended up messing with some guy that's already in the military, that was an officer, and I found out like 6 months later on Facebook.
So what were you, about 20?
I was 21 when I got married, and I'm 27 now.
But that's it last.
We were together for almost 4 years, like 3 years and 11 months. I tried to work through it, and it was just like.
So did her cheating at one time? Was that?
Yeah, because apparently it wasn't even sexual intercourse. Her sister said she just got head from the dude or whatever. But I'm like, no
man can see my woman. No man can see my woman naked, private. Yeah, like no, that from trying not to sound controlling or possessive, that is mine. So nah, you lose your head easy. You gonna get fed, cool. You gonna lose yours.
Yeah,
big.
That's fair too. So at first I was just like, I got through, you know, for the first, but I started fucking with some shit when I was in the military too. So I was just like, you know, I'm getting a divorce when I graduate from AIT, so it don't even matter. So then we moved down to here, and I was like, man, I don't feel like filling out all the paperwork. I didn't know how to do it. It costs money too. Yeah. So I was just like, we'll work on it. We worked on it, and then we was about to get another divorce simply because we just wasn't getting along. Yeah. But found out she was pregnant, and that's why she was acting crazy around that time period. So I have to say the pregnancy was probably the best part of our marriage, because you know there ain't no stress, there ain't no worries. You happy you about to bring a child into the world. But after that, like a year later, she ended up talking to the same guy that she was messing with before. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, we could sit down and talk about it. Like, I'm not even going to be mad. Like,
yeah. So were y'all trying to reconcile after you found out she was pregnant?
Yeah, we reconciled for about another 2 years, 2.5 years. And then I was just like, man, I was like, at that point, like I had goals and stuff, and I was just like, I would rather not her be with me. Yeah. When I achieve what I'm trying to achieve, because like she don't deserve it. So I was just like, I gotta get out of this relationship. And I went, my brother got married. He had a nice wedding up here at the Palisades in Charlotte. It's a country club. you know.
I think I drove by it.
Yeah.
Sounds sure.
Yeah. So we went out there and I came back and I was just like, she was supposed to go with me to the wedding. My brother paid for everything. He was like, he paid for her too. So the night before, she was like, I'm not going. I was like, if you don't go to this wedding, get your shit and get out.
Yeah.
And came back and some of the stuff was gone. But then she was, you know, trying to get back and, you know, let's work on things or whatever. And
Trying to play them games.
yeah, ain't got time. So
Y'all shit just was fucked up from the jump.
yeah, it really was.
Well, the whole time he's telling me a story, one thing that come to mind, like, you guys were young.
Yeah.
Like, not saying she wasn't wrong for anything she did, but at the
She's
same
learning.
time, at the same time, like, I really take my hat off to those people who can have a relationship at a young age and
Make it work. Yeah.
Because you realize you're still figuring out who you are and all that, and you got me to tell me I have to, like, want to keep this person with me. Not saying that's bad, but, like, I'm literally not the same person I was when I met you 5 years ago, but I care about you, so I guess I'm supposed to bring you, but I really don't want to.
Yeah.
It's a conflict.
Yeah.
Like,
And females like to think that men can't change their minds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if...
Or change at all.
Yeah, or change it all. Because I know the girl I'm with now, like, she's definitely had to go through some of my changes. Because, like, I've changed almost completely since...
since y'all first met?
Yeah, since we first met, but also because of me going through the process of writing the book and changing my mindset and having to unlearn a whole bunch of shit I learned as a kid.
So let's talk about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Because I want to know how you transition into this person that you are now after going through such a tumultuous situation so young.
Okay. Well, I like to say...
That was fire. That was fire.
Say that word twice. That was fire, boy! Say it twice.
Spell it. Nah, so initially in 2018, like I said, I lost my son because my ex-wife pressed charges on me. So I lost him for 35 days, and like the first day or two, like I said, I had just sold my game system, so I didn't have nothing. Yeah, I have
2K and my kid.
Watching daytime television, family.
Bro, and I don't even watch TV, so that made it worse too. So like
Pissed because ain't nothing on.
Yeah. So like the first day or two, like I didn't cry. Like I knew I was gonna see my son. I knew eventually I was gonna get everything.
You couldn't see him at all, or you just lost custody?
I lost. I could have saw him, but she was being spiteful, so she didn't let me see him at all.
35 days.
So what I did was I went up to the daycare that I was paying for, and I saw him during the daycare day, so I could at least see my son or whatever, even though she won't bring him by. So I was depressed like those first 2 days or whatever. I didn't cry or nothing like that, but I was depressed. And for the record, it's okay for men to cry. I'm not saying
especially for their kids.
Yeah, especially for their kids. That's just not me. So like I ran into this guy named David Goggins, who is like this Navy SEAL Ranger guy. I listen to Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory on YouTube. Y'all should check him out.
Oh yeah, I fuck with Impact.
He's legit. So they started talking about mindset and stuff. So immediately I just started working out like 7 days a week. If y'all listen to David Goggins, y'all gonna work out every single day for the rest of y'all life. So I was listening to him. I started working out, and then I was like, man, I started on this book while me and her were married, and I just kind of let it go. Like I got like 3,000 words in, and then I just stopped writing for a year. But then that time it was just like something told me to just, you know, start disciplining myself. And I wrote down, I was like, I'm gonna write at least 500 words a day. And then some days I did like 3,000 words, 2,000 words. And I finished the book with like 18,000 more words in like 2.5 weeks. And then I was just like, okay, I can, like, the thing with that is, you know, when people go through trauma and stuff, that's the thing that motivates people the most. Mm-hmm. And
I agree.
I'm trying to figure out how to not have to go through a traumatic event, you know, to channel that. So I've been doing pretty well at that. Like over the past 3 months, I lost like 30 pounds. I stopped eating meat. I just wanted to exercise and like, you know, try and transform myself because I'm all about transformation. So that I would have to say is the initial start of me becoming who I am right now.
So what is the biggest thing you think you had to unlearn during that? That's it.
I would definitely have to say Christianity.
Let's talk about it.
And that's crazy because that's the number one religion in the world. But I grew up.
So they say.
Yeah, so they say.
So they say.
And I will hardly call 99% of Christians actual Christians because they don't know their history. So I had to start there because I'm a musician at a church. Okay. And
Met your girl in church too.
Met my girl at
and
I met my current one too at church. So it's
so either this works or this works or don't. If this don't work, and I hope it do, she good for you. Cool. But if not, you gotta find another place, man. Bro, I gotta find another place. You can't keep meeting them in church. That ain't for you. I'm just trying to look out.
So you grew up. First of all, I was late. Like even when it came to losing my virginity, I was like 18. And that was because I grew up in a church, in a family where it's like, if you have sex before marriage, you're going to hell. And you hear that shit all your life, and you're scared as hell.
The hill?
Yeah.
What's that?
Hell.
Oh. I thought you said the hill.
No.
I could have said the hill. No. What type of cold shit this is?
Yeah, so like I started, in church they say you have sex before marriage, all of that stuff, you go into hell and all this other stuff. So I was just like, I ain't trying to go to hell.
Right.
So I started reading on my own. I'm just like, no the fuck you don't go to hell for having sex outside of marriage. Yeah. So I just started smashing everything I saw, bro. Damn. When I went to my freshman year at Fayetteville State, it was
known in the dorms.
They used to call me Polo because I used to wear polo all the time. Oh my god. But anyway, I was learning and I was reading stuff and I was like, okay, some of this shit don't make no sense.
Right.
So I started doing research on the origins and stuff, and then I found out like the Old Testament, the Bible and stuff isn't original. I was like, they pulled their works from previous texts, and then they're not even like the oldest religion. Like Hinduism is officially like the oldest religion in the world, but there's this thing I came across called the Emerald Tablets that are supposedly from like 36,000 years ago. But if you read the Bible, the earth is only like 5,000 or 5,500 years old. But we're constantly...
What? Somebody said that in the Bible?
Like if you go based off the historical timeline of the Bible, it's like 5,000 to 6,000 years old. But I'm like, obviously, this earth is a lot older than 5. And I'm reading all this shit, and I'm like, none of this, like, it's not adding up. Like, there's... Everybody got a different God out here, and everybody claim that theirs is right and everybody else is wrong. So, like, if I'm a Christian, do I go to, like, Muslim hell or do I go to Christian hell? Like, where do you go? And for people to come out here and say they know who God is, they know his name, they know how he wants you to live, how much money you got to give him every Sunday at church, and where you're going in the afterlife and what it looked like. It's just like, the fuck? Like, there's no way for you to know that.
Yeah.
And, it's regurgitated information in church because all the pastors preach the same thing over and over and over again. So the people that grew up in church regurgitate the information. It's like, well, did your pastor even study this stuff? Like, do you know, like, a lot of this shit is from Greek? Yeah. Like Tartarus. Like Tartarus.
The Greeks got it from the Egyptians.
And the Greeks got it from the Egyptians. So like even with Horus and Isis, like I don't know if like Horus is like a genetic copy of like Jesus or whatever, but
it's a few.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. Like Christ even comes from Krishna, which is in Hinduism, but people don't know that.
Exactly.
But anyways, it's just like everybody has a different name for the same. Like I believe there's a creator out there.
Of
like
course.
I definitely believe that. And if you look at it, all religions point back to it. And I'm like, if God can do anything, then he had to have done the shit everybody said he did.
Right, exactly.
So the Hindus are right, Muslims are right, Christians are right, exactly. Jews are right.
It's whatever resonates with you, in my opinion.
Yeah, right. And then when I started studying the Bible, and I'm just like, you say God can do everything, but he said he created the rainbow, so he won't flood the earth again. So he cannot flood the earth again because he said he can't flood it. So that's one way that he can't do anything. We have free will, so he can't do everything. So it's just like, you just gotta, I started searching within. Like I cut all the bullshit and I started over and I was like, what do I personally believe in without outside influence? And I started with, there's a creator, so I went down this path. Like I would consider myself like an agnostic theist. Like I believe that there's a creator out there, but I don't believe there's a way you can know what he wants you to do. You know what I mean? Like, you just go with the voice you hear in your head. Like, if I say truck, you can hear truck in your head, even if you don't say it.
Exactly.
Like,
what voice do you hear?
Right. What voice do you hear?
What voice do you hear?
I just hear truck. You know what I mean? You don't hear it because there's no sound, but you can hear it and you can see it in your head. Like, if you say fire truck, you see a fire truck. Right. So
I could go deep into that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this. Because I went through the same period. And the number one problem, well, I want to say the number one problem. Well, I want to say the two problems that I had with traditional, just religion. I'm not going to even pinpoint it to Christianity. Mm-hmm. Religion as a whole, not all, but the mass marketed ones make you rely on somebody outside of yourself.
Right, absolutely.
When the power is already within you.
Yeah.
Meaning you can connect to I say the God of the universe.
Infinite all.
I don't say God is a man. I don't say God is a woman. I
Yeah.
just say God.
Right.
And then I
You're
say,
right.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I
you're
feel like
preaching.
that connection is within you already. When you're born with, if we're born in the image of God, we already got God within us. Like
You got a church, don't you?
I don't, bro. I'm telling you, I promise you.
No, you're right though. Like I believe the same exact thing. Like when people pray, they like go out to space and look up at the sky, and it's
Prayer
just
is
like,
prayer is nothing but you affirming yourself.
yes,
The things that you
and,
want.
and if God, I believe everything is interconnected. Like we're connected to animals,
are.
the trees, the
We
earth is
are.
conscious, all of that stuff. So I'm like, why are we, looking over there or looking up to the sky? And it's like the only reason why you have awareness is because God is in you right now. So like just you gotta seek within. People say they hear Jesus and stuff like that, and I'm just like, he wasn't even English and his name wasn't Jesus. So and when was he gonna tell you that his name ain't Jesus? Like his name is Yeshua, and he speaks Hebrew and Aramaic, but he speaks English to you. So it's just like I say now, like if the religion helps you, because religion comes from the word religio, which means to bind together. So it's all about, it's supposed to be about community.
Yeah.
Not supposed to be about forcing people's beliefs to whatever.
If it's not weaponized, it's a great thing.
Right,
It's a great
right,
thing if
absolutely.
it's not weaponized.
Absolutely. So I just believe if it helps you to lead an ethical and moral life, then,
That's good.
do it. If it works for you.
I agree.
But
I agree with all that, and I mean, and to that point, like everybody has to do their own soul searching about what they want to believe, if they even want to believe anything.
right.
So I think like anything else, you have to choose what works for you, and practice not condemning others for
Right.
choosing what. As long as they're not like hurting anybody,
Yeah.
who cares?
Right.
Like now,
As
I
long
can
as it's
say,
not weaponized.
I can say all day. Nah, that's dumb. I don't know why you do that, or that don't make sense. Long as me personally, like, God do say I'm a Christian, but the only people I probably wouldn't rock and hang around with would be so-called devil worshippers. But to be fair, what is the devil? Who is the devil?
Right.
But why not? You know what I'm saying?
Nah, them niggas weird. I ain't.
but that's the thing. Like, but outside of that, like, if you got your religion, I could care less. Like, if you're a good person, I'm cool with that. As long as you ain't trying to push nothing on me or like nothing like that, I could care less. Now, as far as, cause I believe you've done this, I don't know that I could date somebody that had not even a different religion, just had a different belief.
Yeah.
I think I'll say belief. And the only reason I'm like that is because, again, sort of like energy, soul ties, and things like that. Because then it's nothing wrong with being open-minded and questioning things.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you have me questioning everything, like I want to make that decision. You can like walk me along with it.
Right.
But if you're trying to like push yours on me or whatever, like you should do this so we can raise our family like this. Or if I'm doing that, you like it's not
a very complicated situation.
exactly. And
Like
I don't
the
know.
kids are involved.
Yeah, and I don't know how to walk that line. Some people do. Cool. So I'm not saying nothing's wrong with it, but I don't know that I know how to walk that line.
I know how to walk that line only because I believe, like, if somebody, for instance, I can date a Muslim or a Hindu only if they can explain why they believe in what they believe and they firmly believe in it. Like, I
agree.
couldn't date somebody who's just like wishy-washy, like, oh, I'm...
Cause my parents told me.
Yeah, because my parents told me, or like, if you actually study this shit and can explain it to me, I'm like, we could be cool, because I can't say that she's wrong because I don't know either.
Yeah.
But you know that's something that comes with like just mental growth and knowing, not even that you have to challenge, but knowing that you have to seek and find for yourself,
Right.
and not go off of
That's life.
Again. I say I'm a Christian, but all throughout life I went to whatever church my mama went to.
Yeah.
So then I went to school, and I still wanted church. I still wanted the environment, and I went. Like, this is way different from my mama church. So then when I go back home, like, I don't go to my mama church.
Yeah.
But at first it felt sort of weird. It's like, I don't want one thing, I'm weird. You have to, like, what works for you?
Yeah.
That didn't work for me.
And,
So
you have to not worry about what people think. Because I tell people now, like, even people at the church that I go to know that I'm not a Christian. Like, I don't necessarily believe, like, the devil making you do this or whatever like that. It's just like, no, you absolutely chose to do that. And I also don't believe in God physically doing stuff for me. Like, God didn't write my book. Like, I wrote my book. I thank him,
Yeah.
I thank him for giving me the opportunity to write it. But all this stuff, like, I guess it's a way to keep people humble.
Yeah.
But like, if you make a mistake, it ain't the devil made you do anything. Like, I don't give the devil any credit at all. Because if you think about it,
It's a huge metaphor.
bro. There's like 8,000 gods and one devil.
It's a huge.
But that's what I'm saying.
The way I look at it, just to build on that a little bit. Like the way I look at the whole like God made me do this or the devil made me do this is like my true self or higher self made me do the right thing. My ego or my lower self made me do something that I know in my spirit was
wrong. Right. I like
so
the way you worded it.
But if religion, quote unquote, would just say it that way, I feel like that's so much easier than this whole
Trying to make you go,
in my opinion. That's my opinion.
But I'm saying, but that's where it's not even tricky. I think that's when it's like certain people that are just not even with religion, with anything, that are stuck in their ways at anything challenging something that is just so far.
Yeah.
Like if that works for you, then whether it's a church or temple, you can. It's cool for you to find somewhere that gives you that message that way, and somebody can find it somewhere else that gives them their message that way, and it's cool.
Right.
Like it shouldn't be, what I'm saying, oh, it has to be this way, it has to be that way. No, what works for you? Again, you're a good person. You ain't murdering, killing nobody. So like, who cares?
So if let's say hypothetical, if your girlfriend was Muslim and you're a Christian, you wouldn't try to make it work.
It probably wouldn't have gotten that far. like no,
Yeah, y'all believe in a lot of Muslims and Christians actually believe if you study it, they believe in a whole lot of the same stuff.
So here's the thing
And
with
use
that.
the same
Just trying to think outside of my situation. Again, I'm attracted. Like if you're attractive and you're a good person, I'm not automatically asking you what's your religion. So if you're attracted and we cool, we start hanging out and then it comes up.
Yeah.
There's a girl who I talked to for a little bit that had a certain religion. I think she was just Jew or Hebrew or something. I don't know. I don't remember.
Islamic
too.
She wasn't Islamic.
She,
Whatever it was, it stopped. This is gonna sound so bad, and I apologize in advance. But whatever it was, because of her religion, she didn't like have sex. She was abstaining from sex until like her birthday. She didn't celebrate Christmas.
Jehovah's Witness?
Jehovah's Witness. That's what she was. She was Jehovah's Witness. That's what she was. She was Jehovah's Witness. And I didn't know that off the strength. We figured out we still made it work.
Jehovah's Witness is real strict.
yeah.
My barber's Jehovah's Witness though. So.
But again, that goes back to the point of knowing how to walk the line.
Yeah.
I may have persuaded her to do things outside of that.
Wow.
So not even on purpose though, just being me, like that temptation is there. But anyway, like to your question, we could probably have something, and then once I figure it out, we discuss and go from there.
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't seek it. And not that I'm against it, but again, just consistency, if anything else, just consistency.
So I had a girl I have a friend that is Muslim, and her parents are Muslim. And
You had a girl or you had a friend?
she's a friend. That's a girl.
Got it. Just clarification. Just clarification.
So we were out like talking, and found out she was Muslim, which I didn't care about. Whatever. She's not non-traditional Muslim, like very Americanized Muslim, I would say.
Okay.
So doesn't wear the wrap and everything like that. Has it, but doesn't wear it.
Mm-hmm.
But her parents are Muslim, and I was like, well, would they want you to marry like a Muslim guy? And she was like, yeah, they definitely want me to marry a Muslim guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like super traditional. So I wouldn't even feel right. Almost, I would feel kind of guilty. Like, do I need to convert or be with you, or is this going to like shatter your relationship with your family?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think another thing with that is your religion is almost 99% based off of where you were born at. So if you're born in the Middle East, you're not going to grow up a Christian or a Jew. You're going to grow up a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
If you grow up in America, you're probably going to be a Catholic or a Christian, one of the two. If you grow up in Asia, you're going to be maybe Buddhist, or you're going to be Shinto, or you're going to be Hinduism, or, well, that's India, but like wherever you grow up. Like there was a girl I was talking to one time, and she was like a Nubian cadet, African.
Nubian queen.
Yeah, the Nubian queen stuff. And back then, this is when I was a strict Christian. Like, I'm like, she don't know what she's talking about.
Right.
I mean, found out that stuff was true, So it was just like, I wear a pharaoh now. Like, I don't necessarily wear it as a sign of like religion. I wear it like as a sign of power, because like they held their empire together for over 4,000 years, and that's the longest any civilization held power. So like, I respect them a lot. and I want to go to Egypt too. I've been to Africa before. I haven't been to Egypt, but
I had a chance to go. Man.
I want to go.
Yeah.
Why not?
Wow. Young lady I was talking to at the time, her mom was a flight attendant, and she had a area.
Oh yeah.
She had an area in Egypt that she lived in, like. So she's like, anytime y'all want to come. So it just never.
You ain't keep that?
I have somebody better now.
That's all right.
What's her name?
Her name's Jasmine. You know her name.
He looks like he just made that name up.
That's not important. That's not important.
Still follow her or something? Can I?
So,
you know,
being a single parent, how do you feel? All right, you have a woman of 2 years now, but you still say you're a single dad. That's because, you know, she probably hasn't taken any financial responsibility for the child. Tell us a little bit more about that relationship.
Well, this relationship.
No, wait, does she have any kids? Sorry.
No, she don't have no kids.
Okay. Cause I think a lot of times people talk about dating people with kids, but they don't talk about dating people without kids when you have kids.
Man, honestly, I don't think I would be able to date somebody with a kid. I don't know why. Cause I didn't really like kids before I had my son. Like, honestly, like, cause baby cries, they do something to me. Like, it triggered me for some reason, cause they're real high pitched and stuff like that. So. Yeah. I didn't really want no kids, but after my son, it kind of helped me appreciate him more.
Yeah.
But anyway, I met her, like, okay, me and my ex-wife separated September 1st, and I met my girlfriend now, like, 2.5 weeks later at church.
Did you feel like you had enough time in between the... Right.
Well, I was, like, in my head divorced before we separated. You know?
I've been single
Yeah.
for the last 5 months. I mean, I know it seemed like 2 weeks.
Hey,
Good.
honestly, because I knew I was about to get a divorce, so I was just like, man, I didn't just go out and start fucking with chicks and nothing like that. It was just like, I'm not really concerned about this relationship, and I got to get my shit together fast because I'm about to be a single father. So randomly one day, she's like, "What's the worst thing she's done?" I was like, "Oh, she came over to my crib, stripped butt naked, and got on my bed and begged me to fuck her." And I told her, like, because I was just like, I mean, we being transparent and honest, but I told her, and she was upset because I didn't tell her immediately when it happened, and I was just like, but nothing.
I would be mad. My girl ex came to her crib, butt ass naked. She like, you better call me that night. You better call me that night.
I mean, here's the thing for me, and again, this is easy to say when you ain't in this situation.
Right.
To me, I would be mad if she didn't tell me off the strength of I would want to pull up on that nigga.
Right.
But outside of that, like, long as you handle your business, like, get out, long as he ain't harassing.
Right.
Like, now, if he would have been harassing you, couldn't handle, I'm like, no, call me so I can come over there and help you out.
More sense.
But if he was over there, stripped butt naked, now if he got me, I'm be so pissed. But he stripped butt naked, and then you're like, you got to go. You sure? You got to go. He got out, cool, you handle your business. Next time that happens, just make sure you let me know on time.
Right.
But otherwise, it just is what it is. Like,
yeah, and that makes sense. Like, I just didn't let her know immediately, and I'm like, do you think I'm not strong enough or mentally there to handle myself?
You ever let your girl know something? And you like, man, I was trying to be transparent. Like, I thought I could. I thought I was supposed to.
That's my exact point. I was trying to be transparent. So I realized, like, if I would have never told her that, our trust would have never been broken back then. Because first of all, nothing happened. So we're discussing.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, we're discussing that nothing happened, and that broke your trust. Versus, you know, me not telling you that.
You
nothing
should have smashed. No, I'm joking.
You wouldn't be surprised at how many people told me I should have. I didn't know. And
I went off the strength of what she did with you with the 35 days and off that. Nah, she don't.
That was before that.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then I'm faithful. I try to be faithful, especially because my dad divorced because he wasn't faithful.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to. Yeah, break the cycle. Absolutely. You're putting it so well today.
I'm good at this.
Thank you. You sure are.
I got a podcast.
No, but I strive to not cheat because that's what that's why my parents divorced, and I wasn't trying to divorce. So yeah, it's just like I can't be as transparent. I have to be. You don't stretch the facts. You don't stretch the facts, but
you tell what needs to be said.
Thank you. I told her that too. I said I will only tell you what needs to be told. I'll tell you what I want to say. I'll tell you what I want you to know, because even though we're in a relationship, you're not entitled to information.
You're still you.
You're still you.
You have your life, she has her life, and y'all have a life together.
Yes.
But
and
I think that's important. Yeah. Everybody ain't on that level though. For real, you have to, if you're lucky enough to get somebody you can talk with, have that conversation with, they can understand that. Because it's not only benefiting me, it's benefiting you for your sanity.
Right.
Especially if we're going to be together the rest of our lives.
Yeah, like I don't want to argue about rejection. Like, why am I going to argue with you about me rejecting somebody? And I try to tell her, I'm like, I'm a separate individual within this relationship, but she makes decisions with us in mind, like for her single life right now. Like she makes decisions for us in the future, and I'm like, I'm making decisions for me. And in the future, like if you're still here, then we can go ahead and move forward.
But that goes into play. I mean, I don't know her relationship history, but that goes into your relationship history. You learn, right? Like, you have you can't know to fix something until you know it's wrong or know it needs adjusting.
Right.
So again, maybe with this relationship, she'll be learning that. But I agree, man. It's not like overstep. Let's not plan our wedding tomorrow. Like let's get there, get closer to it, and then discuss all that. 'Cause otherwise, we could be talking about. Let's plan dinner. Yeah. Let's happen tonight.
Let's go rock climbing.
Yeah, let's plan a date.
Time isn't promised, so it's hard to be appreciative of the present.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah,
and on that note, I think we get on time. Thank you. It was great. Thank you, Marcell, for coming through.
Appreciate
no
you,
problem.
Appreciate it.